This podcast is brought to you by New Life Ministries.
Welcome to the Every Man's Battle podcast. I'm your host, JJ West. On this podcast, you will hear honest conversation and encouragement for living a life of sexual integrity. Let's get to today's episode. Welcome back to the Every Man's Battle podcast. We're so glad that you're listening. I'm JJ West, your host. I get to serve as the presenter at the Every Man's Battle Intensive. I also work as a licensed marriage and family therapist in Florida, and my primary practice is working with individuals and couples who are dealing with sexual integrity issues, as well as trying to work toward restoration. I'm joined once again in studio by Doug Barnes. Hey, Doug.
Hey, JJ. A little bit about me. I'm a licensed professional counselor. I work in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in Texas. I've had a private practice there for a long time, and I work mainly with folks who are struggling with sexual integrity, struggling with sex addiction, any type of sexual issue, and I've had the really awesome privilege of working with the Every Man's Battle Intensive for a few years now. I get to work in the trenches. I work in the small groups, the breakout groups, and that's where I think God has called me for right now. So I'm just glad to be here.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you're here. And we're going to continue our discussion. For the last two episodes, we've been talking about long-term recovery and managing that. And we got to hear from Dr. Sam Frazier, which was wonderful. And today, we're going to continue that discussion of long-term care, long-term recovery, managing our long-term recovery. But we're going to interact with a brother in the battle. Rick, we're so glad that you've joined us. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today and sharing some of your story. We're really excited to hear from you, and specifically to talk with someone who's experienced the process of being a brother in the battle. So thanks for joining us.
You betcha, no problem.
Yeah, and so can we just start with, man, how did you end up at EMB? How did that come about? Where did all this start for you?
Well, besides God hitting me upside the head finally, and he told me many years that I needed to get my act together. I kind of lived a double life for a long time. With children and being married, and then having another side of me that were doing things that were inappropriate for a Christian man, and from massage parlors to strip joints and to affairs and those kind of things there, and pornography was probably a big thing that happened early on. When I was probably 12 or 13, I saw the first book, Playboy book, whatnot, and in my dad's one of his offices, and most men or guys would go through that. So it had been stirring for a while, and then it started acting out. And by the time you have an affair or so, you kind of, the guilt, the shame, and all those things wrap around. But then all of a sudden it's a little bit easier at times until you have that guilt and whatnot. So I came home one afternoon, and my wife was on the phone, and I could tell it was not just an ordinary phone call, and came in afterwards. It was white, and she asked me who this person was. And man, oh man, talk about your life going right before your eyes. And I was in at that point, I didn't know what to do, what to say. All I know is God was saying, I told you, come on, I need you. So that started a domino of a lot of things. My oldest daughter was home at the time, and she heard the yelling and the screaming and whatnot, and I remember her just pounding on the floor, knowing that her dad had done some things that were inappropriate at the time. And so my wife and I were it was brutal for a couple of weeks. Kathy told me she'd listened to New Life Forever. And she had mentioned to me about Every Man's Battle, and so I went on the website, looked it over, and at the time I said to myself, "This isn't for me. I mean, these are for guys that really have a problem."
Right.
And so I kind of,
not like those guys, right? I'm not one of those guys.
Exactly. Not one of those guys. I might one of them, but not that
control.
Exactly.
Right.
And so I remember going back in about 2 weeks later myself and really looking at it, and that's when God said, "Yeah, you need to be there." So this would be October when my wife got the phone call, and about 2 or 3 weeks after that, so I went in December 2012. And 12-8-12 was my Saturday night exercise. And Doug was there, didn't know me at the time, but I do remember you, Doug. And walking into that place was really something else. I mean, going in by yourself, walking in with a bunch of other men that you don't know. Yeah. And it was the best thing that I've ever really done. At the time, I didn't understand it, and I knew it wasn't, but it turned out to be, looking 12 years back, that it's the best thing that ever happened to me and my wife. And we are still together today because of that.
How about that? How many years ago?
2012. We're 25, so about 13 years.
About 13 years, yeah. 13 years. It reminds me of when we were doing the episodes with Dr. Sam. We were talking about the gift of getting caught, the gift of addiction, the gift of recovery, and to now be able to look back and go, oh, wow, that was the best thing that ever happened to me, even though it was the thing that I dreaded the most before it happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I thought for a long time that if I would ever be caught, that my wife would never stay. There's just no way. So you hide it, and then I became very good at hiding it. And I could go into a church group, no problem, be this deep with guys because you don't say much. And I could do it, and I would run with my buddies that were married, and unfortunately some were Christians, but yet we would go down that avenue, and it just didn't turn out to be real good. But it did turn out to be the best thing that could happen, now looking back on it.
Right.
At the time, it was brutal.
Right.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
With my children and the whole deal.
Yeah. So, you went to the Evermen's Battle Intensive, and then in the intensive, we talk about a program called Sustained Victory, the aftercare program. Doug, can you say a little bit more about Sustained Victory, maybe for the audience member that doesn't know what that is?
Sure. Yeah, I'd be happy to. Sustained Victory is our aftercare program. It's a time for alumni. It's time for connection. It's time for working out. We at our intensive, we get a plan. So there's no guesswork. I mean, we have a plan. We get out in front, and we're looking at a structured order of putting routine back into our life. As addicts or as those struggling with sexual integrity, we struggle with routine and structure, and so this gives us a little element of safety. And so Sustained Victory was created as not only a place of connection, but it's a place of working a plan and also working through a 12-step book that we use that helps us work those steps in getting a deeper understanding, first of all, of who we are, because I can't know someone else if I don't know who I am. And so I'm looking at questions, deep questions about who God is with me, what have I done to get myself into this situation, along with a group. I mean, there's like between typically 6 to 10 guys in our groups, and we just walk this out together. And really, it's about doing life together so that we can walk in integrity and purity. And that's the short version.
Absolutely. And, it was birthed out of the fact that guys would come to the intensive and they'd have this profound experience, but then they would go home and all of the same things, all the same reasons why they were living a hidden life, not in connection with others, were still present when they got back home. And so then they would end up reverting back to their old behavior. And so Sustained Victory was developed as a way to say, you can continue this, you can sustain the victory that you encountered or experienced at the workshop, you can continue that. And so I'm curious for you, Rick, you go to the workshop, you're presented with this idea of Sustained Victory. Was that something you signed up for right away, or did you need to think about it first? And if so, how did you come to the decision to become?
Yeah, so mine was pretty easy. I realized after Saturday in the mountaintop, or excuse me, Sunday, after the Saturday exercise, which was life-changing for me. That's one of the dates that is my line in the sand, 12/8/12.
Yeah.
And so Sunday, the mountaintop was there, and I'm ready to go, and I'm gonna work. So when it was presented in the small group to us, it was like, why wouldn't I? I mean, I'm here. It's like going back to the gym working out. Well, you got to sign up for the next lesson. I mean, why wouldn't you? So for me, it was pretty simple. Didn't really know what it was going to be. The cost of it was like a no-brainer. I don't know what it is now, but $150 a month for every week. I mean, come on, you can't get.
It's the best deal
It's the best deal in town.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty simple for me. Some other guys didn't in our group, and I kind of wondered why. But that was obviously up to them, and I don't know happen with them down the road. But hopefully they're in a good spot. But for me, it was no problem. I totally understood it.
So what's been your experience as a part of Sustained Victory? What's been maybe some of the highlights of being a part of Sustained Victory, and have there been any surprises along the way?
No real surprises. I've been in probably, I think, 2, 3, this is probably my 4th group, only because of either time zones or whatnot. There's been a couple times that, the group either changed some faces and some things happened or whatever. So there maybe the longest time I was out maybe for 6 months, and then got called back up and got back into another group. What's unique, the group I'm in now is great. We've got a guy in Canada, Wisconsin, Texas, a couple guys in LA. So they're all out throughout the country. And for our call, it's 6:30 a.m. Monday morning, and I've yet to be on the camera only because I don't have my face on, just because I'm usually on my cell phone. So I do it audio. I can't wait to see the guys. One day I'm going to surprise them all. But what's nice about it is we've already been through the program. So we already know that our masks are off. We all have different situations that got us there. But so there's no BS that goes in. We cut right to that we all need some help and that we need each other. The brothers in the battle are there. So we do our check-in in the mornings, our 5-minute check-in or so, and how we've done for the week. And some of us have, made some wrong choices in our in our week. How's our Bible reading? How's this? How's that? How's our church and exercise? So it goes through a whole bunch of different items that to me is very worthwhile. Very worthwhile. And it's just having, and we all look forward. We have pretty well perfect attendance because we all look forward to getting on that call together. And there's some heartbreaks every week. There's a heartbreak or two that go through, but we can all, rally each other, and that's the best part for me.
I love that, because I think for some people they might see, this is another thing I have to do. It's another item on the checklist, the battle plan that I've got to work this. It's just, I got to figure out how to fit it into my schedule. And your emotional response is the exact opposite. It's, man, I can't wait to get on the call. I can't wait to connect with those guys, see their faces, hear their stories, share with each other. That's a unique experience, especially I think for guys in the church to be able to share at that level and to value it, right? To be looking forward to that. I'm so glad that that's been your experience.
Y'all have done me an excellent service through this referral network of counselors.
For over 35 years, New Life has been the most trusted name in Christian counseling.
I found a counselor through New Life Ministries, and it's just been outstanding.
If you need a counselor, whether in person or virtual, New Life can help. We have a nationwide network of licensed Christian counselors. Call us today at 1-800-NEW-LIFE. That's 1-800-639-5433.
To get someone that's competent, that's good at what they do, it's been like day and night compared to what I've had before.
1-800-NEW-LIFE.
Has there been any pushback from family, wife, kids, work, hey, you're spending too much time on this, or has there been encouragement?
There's been nothing but encouragement. Now that it's been 12 years, my kids, all my grown children, I've talked to each of them one-on-one within the first year.
Okay.
And I wanted my kids to know who their dad was.
Yeah.
Difficult.
That's
very difficult.
That's a hard conversation. Yeah.
But to the point in the last episode with Sam, it's the best thing that could ever happen to me.
Yeah.
I now have this weight lifted off of me because my kids know who I am.
Yes.
And they know that if I get in that position again, which I won't, but you can never say never, but I won't because I'm learning it. And I got guys, I got to get on a call Monday and talk to my boys and say, hey, I did something in the shower, or I viewed something, or and if you do, you got to be straight. You got to be honest, because that's what this thing's all about. So I make sure, no, I don't think so. I think this one I'm going to just, do the right thing here. Do the next best right thing is what I learned 12 years ago when Jason is do the next best right thing. I don't always do that. None of us do. But boy, if you get that in your brain, do the next best right thing.
And that I have a safe place if I don't. If I mess up, I have a safe place to go and talk about that. I don't have to live in hiding anymore. I don't have to go and talk the talk with my Christian brothers. Oh yeah, everything's great, and inch deep, a mile wide. No, I can actually have a safe place where yeah, I made a bad choice. Here's the consequences, but I don't have to live in shame.
Yeah.
And they invite me to get out of that shame, to be honest, know that I'm still loved and accepted, and now I have more work to do.
And they all get it because we've all been through the same thing. So there's we all have an honor there that we know that we're all fallen, and that we want to lift each other up.
We have a shared language. We have a shared experience.
Absolutely.
We have a shared mission and goal for our individual lives, but also corporately.
Yeah. And the people at my company, my family, and whatnot, they know it's 6:30 a.m. on Mondays. Don't give me a phone call because I'm going to just say I'm on the, I'm in a meeting for that 1 hour. That's what I do. So most of my family, my wife definitely knows that at that time period, that's where I'm at, and she really appreciates that. Yeah, doesn't say it all the time because I think it's so used to being on every week. But she actually sent me a text I'll read later if we have time that really touched me before I came on today. That really will show the what EMB and what sustained victory. And you got to work it though. You don't just walk out. Bing, it's all good.
Yeah.
God makes us work at things. He makes us strive. He makes us push to go through that door. To be strong, you have to push. You got to have some resistance, and that means you got to do it on your own.
Yeah.
You don't walk out just all healed.
You bring up a great point, Rick, about taking that time and cherishing that time and making it almost sacred for you. This is my time that I get to grow, that I get to heal, that I get to not only speak into other guys' lives, but have them speak into mine. But I'm guarding that time. And so if we put it in perspective of how much time did we take away from family, church, work, pick an entity, right?
Yeah.
How much time that we wasted, I hate to use that word, but certain vernacular, so how much time I took away from my life. Now you are taking that back and enriching the other areas of your life because of the relationships and the work that you're doing through Sustained Victory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need it in my calendar anymore at that time.
Right.
It's already
Right.
it's in this calendar,
Yeah.
and it's something I look forward to.
Right.
And I can't wait to get on the phone and wait for our guys to do the check-in, and then we go through the workbook. So it's not just a check-in, we're done. Sometimes it is because there's an issue. Somebody's got a real tough issue that we've got some guys there that come alongside and say, hey, here's what we can, we're listening, we hear you.
Yeah.
And there's other times we get in the workbook, going through the 12 steps, which is just a wonderful thing.
And that's cool to that point too, that I don't have to think about it. Yeah. Even if something comes up, my brain automatically knows, okay, 6:30 on Monday, this is what I'm going to do. This is where I'm going to be.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing is going to get in the way of that. And I don't know about your experience with Sustained Victory, but there have been guys who it hasn't taken root. It hasn't taken hold. And so it's I forgot. Or, it wasn't on my calendar. And then there are those guys that say, this hadn't been on my calendar for 2 years because this is my life. My life has now been rerouted for this to be a part of it. So you've really taken personal ownership of it versus it being another thing.
Yes, totally agree.
Because sometimes when we make it another thing, I have to be reminded. I have to have that alarm go off. And so I think that's a great testament to having it become a lifestyle versus
it's
just
integrated.
Right, versus just another box or project or something that I check off.
Yeah.
And it was what I like about it too is not that the counselor or the leader is talking to you, not so much at you, but to you, but it's that the group interacts with each other. It's not just Jim, that's our guy now, that tells us everything.
Right, he's just dispensing wisdom.
and there's if there's a pause in there, boy, he'll put something in there, and boom, we're back to the races again.
Yeah.
And that part for me is just totally invigorating because I don't know what I'm going to get on Monday mornings.
Yeah.
And there's sometimes I've got some heavy heart that I can unload to some guys that are willing to listen to me, and there's other times that I sit back and go, oh man, that guy's it's breaking my heart. But and we don't give advice. I mean, we if we're asked for advice, we will, but we're not there to give advice. We're there to listen and nurture and be part of.
Nice. But you do speak into each other's lives. You speak life into each other's lives, which is so powerful, and why those bonds become so strong. I mean, I had Sustained Victory groups where they would do reunions. They would pick a city somewhere and they would all convene because this was back in the day when we were still doing phone and we weren't on Zoom yet, because they just wanted to see each other, wanted to be able to hug each other's neck and be in the same space with one another for an extended period of time, because they built such deep bonds, such deep connections with one another.
It's difficult to be a man in these days. It really is. I mean, they talk man's world and all that, but there's just so many other influences out there that we see. I mean, and boy, I'll tell you, if you're out there, like I don't know if you guys still do in Every Man's Battle. Look this weekend if they have the when all the coyotes or whatever go after the one.
The lions and the water buffalo.
Just totally love that. That you're out there by yourself, you're getting picked up, then all of a sudden here comes your crew.
Here comes your
saying,
herd.
you know something, I'm gonna kick some tail here on this guy trying to take every which is Satan or whatever that addiction could be, and we need people to come alongside, because a lot of us hide it. We hide it for a long time.
Yeah.
I did.
So let me ask this: if you were having a conversation with a guy who had just gone through or was just about to go through Every Man's Battle, and he's trying to decide whether he wants to, be a part of Sustained Victory, anything you would share with him?
I'd say, why not? I mean, what do you have to lose? I mean, that's just kind of a quick thing.
Yeah.
But honestly, it's something where you get real connection, because everybody's been through that program. So we've all heard the sessions. We've all had the breakouts. We've all gone through tears, for those that tear up, and for those that don't, that's fine. But we all have a common thread, because we know what we've been through.
Yes.
So if you think you can do it alone, good luck, and a lot of prayers for you.
Right.
And I'm not saying that you can't.
Right.
Maybe there's somebody out there that can. I haven't heard of anybody yet. But if you get into that group and you get to know these guys, I'm as important to be in that group every call as they are for them to be in there.
That's right.
And so we've made kind of a unwritten pact that we're all there for each other, because if I'm not there or someone's not there, we kind of lose that, how's Mr. Wisconsin doing, or how's the Canada guy doing? So it's just part of that. So I think it's like being on a team, is what it to me, and it's just a great sounding board. And like I said, the dollars are so unreasonable. I mean, inexpensive is what I'm saying. It's awesome.
Yeah,
they should raise the
you
price.
can't get that level of therapy, of work, of care for that cost. There's no way.
Totally agree. Totally agree with that. Yeah.
So, Rick, you have been doing recovery for a while. You are in long-term recovery. You're managing your long-term recovery.
Yeah.
And there's been an impact in your life. You talked about the text that your wife sent. We'd love to hear what your wife said to you, especially with the comparison to where you thought things were going on the day that you got discovered, right? D-Day.
Yeah.
Would you share? Would you read that?
Yeah, and before I say that, the one thing, as you said that I think about quite a bit is, not quite a bit, now as much, is I had two roads to go. Do I go the road that I took and go through the hard work and a lot of stuff to go through, or do I go what I consider now the easy road and move out, get divorced, and who knows? I don't know what my life would be. I don't know where I'd be. I know I wouldn't be probably here. I don't know. I got 4 grandkids. I don't know if they would be around Grandpa. I don't know if my kids would love me or not love me.
Yeah.
So I chose the right road, God's road, to go ahead and go down. But that road is a narrow road. It's a tough road.
Yeah.
It's a workable. I mean, you got to work your fanny off, and you don't give up. And there's been times I want to give up, but I've got somebody say, "Hey, no. We talked. We're going down the road together." So anyway, just a little point there that I'm so thankful for Every Man's Battle and for Sustained Victory. This changed my life and has actually changed my family's life, my kids' life, my wife's life, friends of mine, my guys that know me. They know my story.
Yeah.
And they all said, "Man, I'll tell you, I'm so glad." Let me tell you, now I can say what I really think. And I've got some problems too. Let's talk about it. Let's go. This is the only way we do it. All we talk about is football games and who's your favorite team and da-da-da. Then we're done at church. Yeah. We get down into the trenches. So.
Exactly. Yeah. It reminds me of, I've got a couple guys that I get together with almost every weekend. And man, when we're on a long run, right? Not doing that alone, having another guy, and he's like, oh yeah, I have much more strength and energy when I'm running that run with someone else than when I'm by myself, and that's been your experience with Sustained
scuba
Victory.
diving, you always have the buddy system.
That's right.
Working out, you have the buddy system.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you in the most important part of your world, right?
Exactly. So I'll read, if you don't mind, just a short little end. One book that I got early on was Every Man, Every Day, okay, that's still in print, because I just bought 10 of them for some friends of mine to hand out. Great devotionals. My wife, 2 years in, wrote a nice, one morning, I didn't know she wrote it in the front of it, that I still read from time to time. That's 2 years out of recovery. And now this is something that she actually sent me just a couple hours ago. She said, just thinking of you, knowing I was coming into the studio with you all, and just thinking of you and how proud I am of the man that you've become, really. It warms my heart. Thank you for helping other men, and continue to stay on course, working on yourself and staying in community with other men. You'll do a great job today. Love you more than you know. Praying for you.
That's awesome.
That is so incredible.
If it wasn't for this group, and it wasn't for my wife listening to New Life for many years and mentioning Every Man's Battle to me, again, I wouldn't have got that message. I would have been found out, there's no doubt. It's just, the other episode had talked about it. I mean, 90% of the time you're going to get found out. Just a matter of time.
That's just God's way.
Or you bail. Right. You bail early and don't get found out, and you get found out later when you're divorced. So.
Man, Rick, thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it.
Thank you for sharing your story with us and with our audience, but also that you're sharing your life with your brothers, that you're continuing to do the work of recovery, long-term recovery. And it's not a guarantee, right? You do the work. There's no guarantee that you're going to get this, but I can make a guarantee. If you don't do the work, you're not going to get a text from your wife like that 13 years later. It's not going to happen.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
What
totally
a gift.
Agree. I totally agree. Appreciate that.
Beautiful.
So we'll be in Orange County tomorrow. So looking forward to meeting some of the guys from the battle and continue our recovery.
Yeah. So let me just say this for those of you who are listening: if you've never been to the Every Man's Battle Intensive, you've been listening to the podcast. We're well into season 2 now. You've been listening along, and you're saying, I know I've got an issue and I want to work on it, but I don't know. I got to find the time, the money to do it, whatever. As Rick said, why not? What have you got to lose, man? This is an opportunity to be on that other path that leads to life. Yeah, it's a narrow way and few find it, but man, when we choose to go down that path, it's a choice to experience life. It's a choice to experience connection. It's a choice to experience what God designed us for. If you're a listener to the Every Man's Battle podcast, you actually get a discount on your registration, $100 discount. That's pretty sweet. So, man, we're enticing you because we know that this is where God does the work of transforming and continues the work through Sustained Victory, so that it's not just a mountaintop experience, but there's a continual long-term recovery where now it's a whole new lifestyle. Thanks again for listening. We hope to have you join us next week. We're going to be talking with Bob Good about forgiveness, and can't wait for that. Rick, Doug, thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate it. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening. This podcast is just one of the many ways we can encourage and help you. If you're looking for more help, visit us at newlife.com or call 1-800-NEW-LIFE. Please remember to review, like, and share the podcast as it helps others find us. If you have a comment about this podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Drop us a line at embpodcast@newlife.com. See you next week.